leg 6. It shot like 10 times in this leg, 3 times in my right thigh, and 3 times in my hand.
I seen a bitch get stabbed hella close, like, and my foot like.
How did that affect you?
I don't know, it just made me like, I don't know. Used to it.
Why is there so much violence?
This leg,
hatred,
3
you know what I'm
times
saying, jealousy,
in my
envy.
right thigh, and 3 times in my hand.
I seen a bitch get stabbed hella close, like, and my foot like.
How did that affect you?
Ain't no kids excluded, women ain't
Used to it.
Why is there so
that's just it.
XDs, MMPs, ARs, Dracos, SKs, we all openly carry.
This where it go down, then the whole St. Louis go down. North side, south side, west side, but it go down right here for real.
You get killed anywhere. You get killed in the county, you get killed downtown, you get killed on the south side, you get killed on the west side, you get killed on the north side. So, east side, Illinois, across where the strip clubs is. You get killed anywhere. It's bad everywhere, so.
These days, to an outsider, St. Louis has become synonymous with murder. It's topped the charts many times in the past decades, for both murder and crime.
And we are told police recovered more than $300,000 in cash. We counted 6 guns, including an assault-style weapon and what appears to be a tactical armored vest.
You know, we're at the mercy of somebody who really doesn't care about us.
And we are told police recovered more than $300,000. And we are told police recovered more than police recovered more than
The Wild West in these times.
And we are told police
You go get you a whole AR-15 or a carbine.
And we are told police recovered more than $300,000.
You go get you a whole AR-15 or a carbine. You feel me?
And we are told police recovered more than $300,000 in cash. We counted 6 guns, including an assault-style weapon and what appears to be a tactical armored vest.
You know, we're at the mercy of somebody who really doesn't care about us. Hurt my arm 4 times, my leg 6. It shot like 10 times in this leg, 3 times in my right thigh, and 3 times in my hand.
I seen a bitch get stabbed hella close, like.
And we are told police recovered more than $300,000 in cash. We counted 6 guns, including an assault-style weapon and what appears to be a tactical armored vest.
You know, we're at the
And we are told police recovered more than $300,000 in cash. We counted 6 guns, including an assault-style weapon and what appears to be a tactical armored vest.
You know, we're at the mercy of somebody who really doesn't care about us. Hurt my arm 4 times, my leg 6. It shot like 10 times in this leg, 3 times in my right thigh, and 3 times in my hand.
I seen a bitch get stabbed hella close, like, and my foot like.
How did that affect you?
I don't know, it just made me like, I don't know. Used to it.
Why is there so much violence in the city?
Hatred, you know what I'm saying, jealousy, envy.
Anybody can get it. Anybody in there, anybody, everybody. Ain't no exclusion. Ain't no kids excluded, women. If you get caught in the middle of that, that's just it.
XDs, MMPs, ARs, Dracos, SKs, we all openly carry.
This where it go down, then the whole St. Louis go down. North side, south side, west side, but it go down right here for real.
You get killed anywhere. You get killed in the county, you get killed downtown, you get killed on the south side, you get killed on the west side, you get killed on the north side. And so, east side, Illinois, across where the strip clubs is. You get killed anywhere. It's bad everywhere, so.
These days, to an outsider, St. Louis has become synonymous with murder. It's topped the charts many times in the past decades, for both murder and crime. But more intimate knowledge of the city's history paints a picture of 2 cities in one, Black St. Louis and White St. Louis, and how the murder issue became almost exclusively black on black, and the irony of how it stayed that way even after the Ferguson riots and the birth of Black Lives Matter. See, there's 2 sides to the city. Everything south of Delmar Road and north. The north side is way more active with 70% of murders happening here and north. See, there's 2 sides to the Ferguson riots and the birth of Black Lives Matter.
That's for you, special. Black Lives Matter.
Away, even after the Ferguson riots and the birth of Black Lives Matter. See, there's 2 sides to the city. Everything south of Delmar Road and north. The North Side is way more active with 70% of murders happening here. It's something of a modern dystopia with the kind of poverty rarely seen everywhere else in America. Combine that with the very loose gun laws, and you have a recipe for disaster.
Niggas out here, as soon as you get 18, all you need the ID, nigga. And you go get you a whole AR-15 or a carbon. You feel me? A 18-year-old, no gun license, just hit them niggas leave up. So
all right, so the title was based on the debate I had with a young Negro, you know, from my way, who I try to warn, like, dude, just keep the conversation, you know, private. You don't want to debate me. You never debated before. You don't even know how to really express your thoughts like that, dude. You know, this takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of L's, takes a lot of correction. It takes a lot of networking, socializing with other people, like-minded minds. You dig? It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of video footage. You know, I really watched Malcolm X debates, you know, at these institutions. Conscious community debates, of course. I watched, you see me, I played the cross-examination of detectives, you dig? Cross-examination on police officers who were trying to suspend people's license, charge people with DUIs, and it was getting obliterated by the DUI guy. I even played interrogations, right? Detectives trying to catch the suspect out there, trip her up. You dig? Sheikh Ahmed D. Dots watched him debate, kill Christians. You dig? Matter of fact, he was the one, because I was like too serious with my debating style. He was the one that let me have fun with it, because he used to have fun kicking ass. You know, F. Lee Bailey, Johnny Cochran, what they did to Mark Furman, you know, the people they cross-examined, destroyed, you know, but so I had so much inspirations by so many people that was great at it. I even did the Ham versus the Science Guy. You did watch that many times over and over and over. You know, of course, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, you know, just like that's a passion of mine to be good at it. So I really, and I'm a chess player, which is similar to debating. So, you know, I used to watch the Christian Apologetic. I forgot their YouTube channel, but like they used to destroy most. It's funny because Sheikh Ahmed D. Dot, pardon, used to destroy Christians, right? But I got this Christian group who used to destroy Muslims. It's funny. They were apologetic. I forgot that. I could find a name. I still get the emails in one of my my email accounts. But you know, and a young guy from the hood that barely socialized with his peers or anybody. He's in his shell most of the time, and he gonna beat me on YouTube. I got like 15 years of experience just on YouTube. You know, current Nation Islam debates. I'm like, dude, you have no experience. Don't do that. I said, it's not going to play out the way you think it's going to play out. Like, I know how to keep my composure. You know, I'm a little wise at it now. I'm pretty good at it, I think. I get my point across. Arrogant little Negroes. Hopped on here. He had 2 minutes to start it off. He went uninterrupted. I got my 2 minutes. He interrupted me every chance he could because it's harder when I'm whipping your ass and I got 2 minutes to do it uninterrupted. You got to get all this heat from me. It's hard to sit there quiet. It's like an exorcism. You dig? A demon was inside of him. He just had to interrupt me over and over and over. And I had to exorcise the demons. Who know Pet Detective, Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey's like, I just exorcised the demon. Dig? So, and I got some videos to back up that piece, no man. So anyway.
To this day, St. Louis is still one of the most segregated cities in America, with no end in sight. We're going to explore the crime history of the city, particularly how the violence has almost always been connected to race, drugs, and gangs. St. Louis is the story of a city that fell from its former glory. It has a brutal history as well. St. Louis made its come up as a slave trading city in the 1800s, and its home state.
So the history, I like this video because it gave some history on St. Louis. You know, a lot of stuff I didn't know.
St. Louis made its come up as a slave trading city in the 1800s, and its home state, Missouri, was also one of the last states to abolish slavery. Later on, it became the main trading post on the Mississippi River and was the fourth biggest city in the U.S., only behind New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia.
I didn't even know that.
Big enough to host the Olympics in 1904. Naturally, all the prosperity attracted poor immigrants and the black population fleeing the torment of the South. A lot of them became stuck in poverty via harsh segregation laws and redlining of early 20th century St. Louis. Tailored to be the instrument of their own destruction.
Talk about red lines.
A story too familiar.
Talk about red lines. That was white, big red lines everywhere. That is the complete definition of redlining. There's red lines everywhere on that map.
Tailored to be the instrument of their own destruction. A story too familiar to America's inner cities. Given the hell they grew up in, these poor neighborhoods birthed all kinds of.
Hey, y'all, did y'all get a chance to watch the rest of that Rizza Islam scam with his mom last night? Because I fell asleep. Or was it last night? I don't remember. I fell asleep. I woke up I knew I bit off more than I can chew. I should have stopped at the polite one. I'm like, I knew I had like 15 more minutes in me, and here I go. Now I could pull this Rizza Islam off if I just pause it and comment in between. Shit, niggas knocked out.
As of seedy individuals looking to make an easy dollar. Gangs like the Green Ones, Bottoms Gang, Russo Gang.
And when I say debates, I mean more of the conscious community style, which is, you know, more entertaining. Because a real debate, you got to be really into that to watch that shit. It's just boring as hell. And the rules be corny. You go, I go, rebuttal, question, answer, you know, like a real debate. But the way black folks spice it up, we make it like anything else, golf, tennis, things that's considered boring or seen as boring. Black folks get involved, it becomes entertaining. This is why that's one of the reasons why I wanted to really go hard with bowling, because I felt like I could possibly, if I was ever to be like good as those professionals, I could possibly bring what they needed to the bowling sport. Like, cause that's when I had my braids, you dig, or that black look, that black hood look to it to get, you know, a black, you know, viewers interested. But I kept losing interest. Like, and most things I do, like even basketball. Basketball, I'm like more consistent, but I had lost interest in basketball for about a good 2 years. That's only because, which I've never said before, because it wasn't that deep. But I lost a huge interest in basketball, not because everybody was better than me. It's a simple fact. I started seeing kids like high school or barely out of high school. Like everybody 6 feet, 6'2", 6'3". I'm like, damn, is my height obsolete? I'm like a little under 6 foot, barely not 6 foot. And I started seeing guys like 16, 17, 18, 19, like 6'1", 6'2". And I'm like just discouraged. I'm like, damn, is my height just obsolete in basketball? And like they dunking like easy. Like, the dunking part really got to me more than the height. Because if they weren't dunking, I'm like, you know, those 6 footers that can't dunk. I'm like, that's when they started dunking. That's what just made me feel like shit. Like, oh, God, I ain't dunking. They couldn't shoot for shit. I even got them off the court, but I don't know. It's that when it was dunking on ease like that just made me feel like basketball passed like my type of style, like which is barely under 5, barely under 6 foot, can't dunk, but can shoot, dribble a little bit. But I felt like basketball moved to I don't know why I was thinking like that. I feel like basketball moved, and I was by myself. Like all my boys, you know, don't forget I'm a little older, so my boys got fat. alcoholics or whatever they're into. They was no longer able to run. So I'm like kind of going by myself to these parks now. So that thought popped in my head. There was nobody there I could like relate that to. It's like, nah, you bugging. And I just felt like the game passed me. Like I just felt like a dinosaur. And that's my own insecurities. I'm thinking that's how they view me. I'm thinking they view me as a dinosaur. Look at this nigga, this old style. And y'all know what I'm talking about that played basketball. Even like the older guys when you ball, they had like the little shorts when we had the long shorts, or they wore like the headband and the wristband. You're like, what the fuck? Like the Cream Abdul-Jabbar starter kit. You be looking like, dude, this is way past your time. So that's how I thought I was being looked at. That was like my own insecurity. Even though I ain't had stuff on, that is how I felt because I couldn't dunk. I felt like they look at me like, dude, why you out here if you can't dunk? Stay your ass in the house. So I stopped playing ball. So I started back maybe a little under 3 years ago, and my shot, I really could never, still to this day, I could never get it like consistent. I have my hot days. I'm shooting, the best I can shoot, but that wouldn't last the whole week. Then the next day, it might be like that or slightly or even better, but then, so that's Monday, Tuesday, but Wednesday, I probably can't make anything. Like, yo, what the fuck? Yo. And like, I think that bothered me coming back too. That's why I get credit to Michael Jordan, extra credit. Like, yo, how this nigga take off twice and fight through that and still had that shot like that? He sent to watch No Man Peace. Okay. It's high jump rock. My son just sent me a dunk video. Oh, he did. Oh, he dunked. He dunked. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. That shit right there. The hood look. Yeah, see right there, little dude. Wait, like 20 years younger than me, 25 years, dunking the ball. Like, yeah, that shit just hit different. Now, mind you, they go dunk at 1 point. I come down, shoot a 2-ball, and I get 2 points. Depending how you play. Up here, we play 1s and 2s. I think Atlanta, they play 2s and 3s. But whatever how you play, they dunk the ball, they get just a regular field goal point for that. I come back the other way, knock down a 3-ball. We're up 1 point, and I keep doing that back and forth with you. So even though like I'm winning because I'm hitting 3 balls, but I still was just discouraged with the dunking because everybody was doing it. Like, yo, what the fuck? It's like I can water down the game when they're trying to show out because that's all. Yeah, and guess what? So oh my god, I wish I'd have thought of that. Now you see why I like. That's why I was trying to tell Stu Pease. I'm not a Michael Jordan fan or LeBron fan, my boy. I'm a small guard. Now you guys see it makes more sense now. When he tried to charge me with just being a Michael Jordan groupie, when he was clearly a LeBron groupie, I'm like, dude, I'm not a fan of none of those is my favorite player. I'm a short guard guy. The guys who don't dunk, Tim Hardaway, like that. Tim Hardaway, not Steve Francis, because he gets up there. Tim Hardaway. Mark Price. Yeah, what I know about Mark Price? Mark Price, Kevin Johnson. Even though Kevin Johnson can bang, but Kevin Johnson, Trey Young, Tiny Archibald. I like the small guys, man. Even like the short. I like the legend Isaiah Thomas and the short Isaiah Thomas because I like the guys who didn't dunk that much because I felt like that was more of my game. So now y'all get it now. So now more's coming out. It wasn't the fact that I was hating LeBron or love Michael Jordan. I'm a short guard guy. I'm not even that big of. I love Ja Morant, but again, and Kyrie. You could mention Kyrie, but Ja Morant, like he got unbelievable athleticism. So no, like he wouldn't be my favorite guard. So that's why Trey Young is my favorite guard, and my team is Atlanta as a result. If that makes more sense. Now, I don't got small hands. I could pound a basketball. So everybody my height, be like, oh, you got big fingers, and my arms are like longer than somebody my height too. So I got like a little advantage over somebody my height that jumps like me. You can't jump out the gym. But if you jump like me or close, I'm going to have a rebound advantage over you because my arms are slightly longer than, I'm like Mayweather. Like my arms are longer than the average person my height. So I don't have small hands. I can actually pound the ball and do that stuff. Okay, we had a 6'4" shooter who said it's okay. He can't dunk. He'll switch when it's worth 3 points. Exactly. If you don't, yeah. Even if you don't like the guys, you still got to call it down the middle. Facts. Yeah. Right. Exactly. That part, watch is great as how he plays. Yeah. Exactly. And the guys, and like another thing, like that again, like before these young guys start dunking out the roof. Another thing that made me love younger guys because they last longer. Like look at John Stockton. The guys who don't really dunk that much, from my assessment, they last longer than the guys who dunk. McGrady, all that dunking, can't dunk, trash. Penny can't dunk, trash. And I noticed like not just them, but people in my city, when these guys couldn't knees bother them, couldn't dunk anymore, straight trash. They had no game, straight trash. You dig? So I mean, that's what motivated me to get a shot. I'm noticing, oh, AI could dunk. He refused not to. I mean, he refused to. He'd rather just lay the ball up. Trae Young could get up there a little bit. He lays the ball up.
Hogan game and the Egan Rats were all gangs made up of poor Italian gang. Green ones, bottoms individuals. Given the hell they grew up in, these poor neighborhoods birthed all kinds of seedy individuals looking to make an easy dollar. Gangs like the Green ones, Bottoms gang.
All right, so St. Louis gang wars of the 1920s. You know what? I'm gonna save that because I think I'm gonna come across a conversation where I need to pull this up. Let me screenshot this. Okay.
Russo gang, Hogan gang.
Screenshot this too. I feel like this is going to be needed on this live as a source.
And the Egan Rats were all gangs made up
Dang,
of poor Italian, German, Polish immigrants that grew up rough. These guys had all the attention of the law enforcement way before black criminality ever became the main focus. These early gangs mainly got money from bootlegging, election fraud, armed robbery, and extortion. Gambling mainly through the numbers game, which was popular with the black folk, was another big earner from them.
Yeah, definitely.
Bank robbing gangs looted thousands from local banks here and were known to have gun battles live on the street.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Bolden, owner of Atlanta Dental Spa,
and this documentary was kind of cool because it touched on, the beginning of St. Louis. It touched on how they was like heading to slave trade in the 1800s. I like this because it didn't just start with where Missouri's at right now with black gangs. It went straight to what you're watching, like the beginning of the history of Missouri, really.
The bottom gangs would even go out their way to attack St. Louis cops, and they were used by local politicians to enforce their will. It was like the Wild West in these times. The Prohibition presented the next big earning opportunity for local mafias. They would sell Sacramento wine, which was still legal, and smuggle booze from Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, I played.
This era was pretty much mobster Game of Thrones, and local bosses were constantly.
Also, I set screens for my players. Like I'm smart. Like if I see like one of my players, my young player that's pretty good, and a defender, how some guys dedicate themselves to defense and they're actually good at it. Some Patrick Beverly ass nigga. So Colin Sexton ass nigga. So that Tucker. So what I did was I said, okay, so I don't want my guy working hard to get a bucket. You did, because usually he won't play D later. You know what I mean? So I'm just smart. I'm older. I'm smart. Like, you know what? He ain't gonna play D later, and we gonna lose because the guy, he ain't gonna cover. He ain't gonna switch. He ain't gonna jump out there because he's tired. He trying to reserve his stamina for his offense. So what I would do is a smart guy like me, I will run and set a literally a blind side screen, literally blind side. I'll run out there right when they ain't looking because sometimes these guys be big. And I'm only like 170, so they're gonna run through me because they're gonna find that disrespectful. A big 240 guy, 260 guy. But I noticed if I sit up, because I got rock, I set a good screen on the big dude. I stopped him, but I got a headache afterwards. Some CTE type shit. So because he tried to run through it. I said, all right, fuck. I gotta set blind side screen. So I'm good with setting blind side screen. I'll fuck you. I run out there. and my man cut real fast, you think, boom. I said it real fast because his teammate ain't got enough time to say left, right. So that's why I do the blind screens. I run out there real fast. I feel like I'm gonna get the ball. Like, you know, I do it real slick. I feel like I'm gonna get the ball from him, like I'm calling for the ball, and then my hands out like I'm gonna catch the ball, and I just close real fast. Boom! Set that screen. One big dude was mad as hell at me Friday. You can't do that. Like, I can't set a screen. Like, stop, bruh.
Constantly being murdered and replaced. Dominic Jambroni was the OG mob boss in St. Louis until 1924, when his enemies made him flee the city. The Green Ones became the most powerful gang after this. It was a Sicilian gang that put a tax on all the goods sold in Italian communities. The boss was Vito Ginola until he was shot 37 times to death in 1927.
Damn!
Their main rivals were the Pillow Gang and the Russo Gang. The Pillow Gang was initially led by Pascal Santino, who was also murdered in 1927. Carmelo Fresina took over and was the one that gave the gang the name the Pillow Gang. Named as such because he had to carry a pillow to sit on because he was shot in the ass. The Pillow Gang clicked up with the Russo Gang, which was led by Tony Russo. Years later, they finally joined up into one big mafia family under Thomas Buffer. Buffer fled St. Louis due to the pressure from the cops in 1943. But even he was murdered in Lodi, California in 1947.
Eesh.
After that, it became named the Giordano family, after Anthony Giordano, and has held that name ever since. After World War II, the factory started to leave St. Louis and left a lot of people broke and desperate. Many people left and the population dropped from 800,000 to 250,000 in just a few years.
Damn.
Most of whom were poor black people that the state didn't care about too much. See, black people had immigrated in large numbers to Missouri during the Great Migration and set up shop in dirty, rat-infested inner-city buildings. So to accommodate for all the new black folks in the city, they built massive projects. The main projects were Pruitt Ego, one of the many super housing projects in America that fell into degeneracy and crime.
I hate those tactics.
These 33 buildings of apartments quickly filled up with poverty, drug dealing, and prostitution.
He would never switch.
They were underfunded, underserviced, and had poor build quality.
Fall asleep on dick.
Raw sewage even flooded the hallways once.
I ain't gonna lie.
Not to mention white flight followed quickly. And the now
I ain't gonna lie. I hate running through screens. I mean, so at the gym, like if my teammates expect me to run through a screen, we are screwed. Somebody's gonna be wide open. I don't know what it is, man. I hate running through screens. I just feel like it's so easier if you just go and get them. And I just take yours. I hate running through screens, man. And every time my teammates expect me to do that, almost 100% of the times they get a wide open shot or a layup. Because I never run through screens. I don't. I gotta be pissed off to want to run through a screen. You dig? I never run through screens. So I let my teammates know, like, listen, man, let me know, like, you want me to run through or switch, even though I don't want to run through it. Like, hint, you want to switch to make it easy?
Exclusively black project became ignored by the government. Even police would stay away from the places like these. Many people that grew up here would turn criminal. It was also home to the Spinks brothers, Leon, who served Muhammad Ali his first loss, and Michael, best known for beating Larry Holmes by being destroyed by Mike Tyson a year later. Other than these two, no one else ever really made it big out of here. Well, not legally at least. Heroin was a big problem in the 60s and 70s. American vets from Nam came home with all types of addictions after the war, but heroin was all the rage. See, a lot of them got addicted during the war, and it was smuggled in all types of ways after. Even in the coffins of dead soldiers. It was the easiest way to make $1 in the 70s. So a lot of black folk who had no way to touch the American dream took to selling dope. Naturally, Pruitt Ego, the largest PJ in the city, became heroin HQ. The head of the heroin operation was a man named Terry Joe Cooley. Terry Joe Cooley and his clique had a grip on the heroin market and were making a killing. Dude was a typical 70s kingpin. Fur coats, gorgeous women, mansions, fast cars, the whole thing. But the heroin business had an ugly side. Any opposition or competition was regularly met with death. For a long time, their main rivals were the crew from the Vaughn projects, and many bodies dropped on both sides. Terry was ambitious and had grand schemes and big plans of expanding. But St. Louis being St. Louis, there were sharks in the water. And someone wanted to take Terry's place.
Getting greedy.
Hey, stop for a second. Looks pretty sharp, right? But
at just 31 years old, Terry Cooley met his death in a grisly way, shot in the head, and left to rot in a dark basement. Next to his body, his wife, 10-year-old son, business partner, all shot in the head multiple times.
Damn.
No one knows who did it. Business partner. Next to his body, his shot in the head, 10 years old, water. But St. Louis being St. Louis, there were sharks in the water. And someone wanted to take Terry's place. At just 31 years old, Terry Cooley met his death in a grisly way, shot in the head, and left to rot in a dark basement.
Man.
Next to his body, his wife, 10-year-old son, and business partner, all shot in the head multiple times.
Damn.
No one knows who did it or why he was killed to this day.
Wife and son?
Back at Pruitt Ego, Terry was quickly replaced by TJ.
I don't know. Wife, son, business partner in a basement. That sounds like cops to me. Let me get my conspiracy theory on.
TJ Ruffin, who was another major player. TJ was perfect for the post as a lifetime criminal and convict. But being the head honcho meant he had a target on his back from the first day on the job. Both the feds and the rivals from Vaughn projects. In January 1972, TJ Ruffin entered Lily's Tavern, North Sierra. But right behind him, his enemies Fred Parker, Sam, Earl Davis brothers followed him in. Before they had a chance to off him, TJ spun around, drew his weapon, and smoked both brothers. He was hidden in the crossfire. He would go on to recover from his wounds, but the feds were building a case against him.
That dude was bad. Turned around and smoked both of them? Some Van Damme shit?
Whole time. Once he got out, they tracked him down to his girlfriend's apartment. As the story goes, the police pulled up and shots were heard coming from inside the apartment. The cops fired tear gas inside, causing a fire that burned TJ Ruffin and his girl to death. The autopsy of the bodies revealed they both shot themselves before being burned. By this time, Pruitt Ego had been destroyed, but the seat at the top was vacant regardless. Next up was Nate Sledge, another career criminal, and a notorious robber and shooter. In and out of jails and suspect of many unsolved gangland murders.
Damn.
In January 1980, Sledge and his homies were approached by several men while they were in a parked car. He must have known who the killers were because they asked him to lower his window before they unloaded into the car. He expired instantly. After Nate came Fats Woods. He was a hardened criminal with over 60 arrests and
Ain't that crazy, yo? Like, this should be something, if Dr. Umar ever get his school up and running, like something like this should be played to like the middle schoolers. I would say 7th grade and up, all the way to high school. You know, like they mandated Malcolm X, this right here. Because like kids got to see, like, yo, yeah, you're gonna be the big dog, yeah, you're gonna get all the money, all the girls, but all y'all gonna die. Like, yo, there's no honor amongst thieves. Y'all all gonna die because you are going to want to stretch your empire. You're not going to stay confined in your little area. And once you stretch, now you're tapping into somebody else's area, and you got to go.
22 years ago.
And that's on some outside. But what if it's internal? What if the crew inside hates you? You dig? So it's just too much stress for me.
Of his life. He trafficked heroin to Chicago and India and was being investigated by the IRS for hiding millions. Woods was a loved community hero for helping poor locals, something of a Robin Hood, Pablo Escobar type figure. So the feds had a hard time getting any cooperation from the locals. He had a mark on his head, and the feds and DEA were tirelessly building a case against him. They finally arrested Woods, and he got 30 years for selling heroin.
Man.
He was 27.
Man.
Jerry Lewis was a remaining high-ranking member of Pruitt Ego, but most of the OGs and founders were dead or locked up. He was introduced to the gang by his big brother Jimmy Lewis. Jimmy also held rank in the crew and mentored his brother in the kingpin ways. Sadly, Jimmy was killed by a man named Lil Rob right on the city courthouse steps.
Damn.
And right in front of Jerry.
Man.
A sign of the times and how bold criminals were getting. This was retaliation for Jimmy and Earl Williams, attempting
courthouse steps. Damn.
bold criminals were getting. This was retaliation for Jimmy and Earl Williams, attempting to rob him. Lil Rob served 14 years for this. At the end of the sentence, he was staying at a halfway house.
Oh, you know, the BMF, yeah, I love BMF story. It's pretty dope.
Where he was shot 3 times in the head and killed.
Damn.
He had only been out for 2 days. Meanwhile, Jerry Lewis had taken over and revived him.
Jason Bourne. John Wick is the, man, like I could deal with these movies to a certain degree. Jason Bourne, I get it. But John Wick, I mean, that's overboard, man. Like, that's some, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I try to watch that shit. The first action scene, I turn that motherfucker off. Like, dude, you just killed 100 people in his mansion by yourself. I mean, I don't think Chuck Norris did that shit. I was good. I was good. I turned that shit off. I just couldn't watch it after that. You killed that many people in a mansion, and a cop gonna knock your door. Hey, Mr. Wick, everything's all right? Yeah, just, you know, how it goes around here. The cop just leaves. I said, okay, I'm good. Turn that motherfucker off. I'm good. I can't do that realm of fantasy. There gotta be some type of suspense, you know, a real reality. I just can't. That fake shit like that. And Transport, another one. That Transporter shit, he flying through helicopters. I'm good. You dig? Bruce Willis jumping on helicopters. I'm good. Like, when we start doing shit like that, I just can't do that.
Pruitt Ego Gang, making millions and making many of the head honchos rich. They live lavishly with women, cars, showing up to popular fights. Jerry Lewis Bay turned into of the more science.
More science. Yeah, when your community believes a snitch is worse than a criminal, and I'm talking about like a violent criminal, yeah, that's a definite sign that you live in a predatory neighborhood. You dig? It's just swarming with predators.
The popular fights. Jerry Lewis Bay turned into a Muslim of the Moorish Science Temple during one of his prison stints and cleaned up his act when he got out.
All right.
He would go on to build political connections with congressmen and mayors as well. Really though, he got in politics as a facade to make it look like he had cleaned up his act.
All right, I'm gonna get on Tarka Bey, because Tarka Bey debating this Islam guy, and he said a Moor had he mentioned a Moor. I don't know if it's talking about this brother, but he mentioned a Moor getting into politics and getting connections with Congress. So if this, I'm gonna find out his next line. I'm gonna ask that question. I might be send a little cash or whatever they got there, super chat, to ask that question. I'm gonna see if he named this guy right here.
In the 80s, the local police, feds, and DEA were still in the case, and they spent millions investigating him and protecting witnesses, a lot of whom kept dying during investigations.
Damn.
The Lewis Bay trial lasted 7.5 months, the longest in Missouri history to this day.
Damn.
He got a life sentence for racketeering and conspiracy to murder, and that was the end of the Pruitt Ego Gang. But after the demolition of the Pruitt Ego, and that was the end of the
Jerry Lewis Bay.
All right. He got a life sentence for racketeering and conspiracy to murder, and that was the end of the Pruitt Ego Gang.
Not one.
But after the demolition of the Pruitt Ego of 1972, many of the residents scattered all over the north side and set up new gangs
I'm done with
and drug dealing empires all over the city. A pretext for future St. Louis gang wars going on till this day. Dorsey Brandon was born into the crime.
Hey, yo, Dorsey Brandon. Hey, yo, and my black algae at that time, I just refused to watch any white women who kicks ass. I just could not. Sandra Bullock, I don't give a fuck who it was. It took me like 15 years to watch Kill Bill. That's no cap. I'm like, oh, this shit all right. When I finally watched it, I said, oh, all right, this shit all right. But I just could not stomach a white woman kicking ass. To me, again, it's just how I seeing them as fighters. To me, I was just so unrealistic. I'm like fairy tale, Santa Claus. I'm like, nah. Like I said, it took me a long while, about 15 years to watch Kill Bill. And I finally watched it. I was like, all right, this ain't too bad. But I don't know too many other movies. You guys probably got named something. I don't know too many. Does Batman count with Catwoman? You did with Catwoman? Does that count? Like even a Wonder Woman. I went and watched that. I went and watched Wonder Woman. White women kicking asses. You can count me out. And so you know I hated that fucking Terminator. But the white woman, that shit was trash. That shit was trash. Yeah. So for me, it might be the black algae, but I just thought that was just so fantasy that a white woman just kicking everybody's ass. I just wouldn't even touch it. I watched that Terminator shit. That white woman, that shit was the worst Terminator ever. Bitch weighed about 100 pounds, man.
Crime-infested gang war is going on till this day. Dorsey Brandon was born into the crime-infested ghettos of St. Louis in 1973.
So Tomb Raider, I played it. I ain't really played. I watched my brother play the game, but I really ain't watch it. I don't know much about that.
Dorsey was 6'3" and fearless with an authority complex.
Yeah.
All right, boss. These are the top-of-the-line business phone systems we can choose from. Each comes with voice, video, and texting capabilities.
Let me.
Thanks, Jared.
Do a disclaimer. I'm not talking about the Asian women. Like that shit was dope. You dig? I ain't talking about them.
Fearless enough that he went by Dorsey on the street instead of taking up a street moniker. Another inner city youth, aptly nicknamed Hitman T, was also born around this time. Boys of Destruction were one of the most active gangs. Their rivals were
Boys of Destruction. But real fast, anybody who's into like the kung fu scenery back in the day, I don't care if you was not around, you were not old enough, but you learned about it later. You watched some films. What was your single best? It could be Bruce Lee, it could be anybody. What was your single favorite kung fu movie of all time? But it has to be way back then. It can't be nothing now. It got to be like 90s and back. You can even say Jet Li. You can name some of his shit or Jackie Chan, but it got to be like 90s and back. It can't be nothing new, nothing in the 2000s. So let me know your favorite single kung fu movie.
Horseshoe.
Chinese, not nobody black. Okay, so don't say Kareem. You can say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because he's part of that shit, but really Chinese people. Asian.
Both gangs resided in neighborhoods a few streets away from each other. But before all of this, Boys of Destruction and Horseshoe Posse had started out as breakdancing crews. But the breakdancing didn't bring in enough.
Okay.
They wanted more. Both groups hit
Wait, when was Bloodsport? Yeah, Bloodsport was dope. When was Bloodsport? Was that in the 90s? Cause that's kind of close. Hey, you might be fucking right. Hell yeah. I was in high school. I was a Van Damme fan. Yeah. I think that might have been 95, yo. Let me see. That might have been 95. Oh, 88. Shit. So I ain't watch it. Wait, nah, this had to be like a remake. Hold on. Let me be more. Yeah, 1988. Wow. How 60? Oh, yeah. So I guess that would count. Yeah. No. All right. So my bad. It got to be the kung fu style though. You dig? This was karate. It got to be kung fu. It got to be kung fu. Like niggas jumping in the air with swords. Yeah. Because even Bruce Lee and them had swords and stuff. Yeah. So the Watcher, No Man, and everybody else, they have to have weapons in their hand, right? They got to have weapons. So what was your favorite kung fu movie where they had weapons?
A team, the breakdance and away from each other. But before all of this, Boys of Destruction and Horseshoe Posse had started out as breakdancing crews.
Horseshoe Posse.
But the breakdancing didn't bring in enough, and they wanted more. Both groups hit their teens right around the time of crack cocaine hitting the streets of St. Louis. Members of the Crips and Bloods from LA were setting up shop in the city
Frank Dukes.
and set up
Rolo
franchises
was the man.
back in LA. Crack fetched a
He
higher
kissed
price in St.
the
Louis
dragon.
too. The new gangs had a lot of influence on the impressionable kids excited
Took a
about
little
picking
time.
up the side.
Brandon Lee and Dolph Lundgren. Brandon Lee, Dolph. Yeah, you guys know your movies. But Brandon Lee, oh my God, I don't know how I can word this thing because Brandon Lee was still like modern. Like he was. All right, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna move the goalposts. Kung Fu movies only because Bloodsport is a classic. The Brandon Lee, I think that was Brandon Lee in Law of Thunder, right? Or no, or is that Big Trouble in Little China? One of them, right? But those were dope. Those are all dope. So let me stick y'all. Let me pin y'all to just Kung Fu movies. Yes, only Kung Fu movies. Right? So around the time of Bruce Lee, what was your single best Kung Fu movie? Yeah, let's go with that. I hate when I do that.
The Colors movie of 1988 also influenced people a lot, and so did the emergence of gangster rap.
All right, so now you see that this narrator says that movies, they put these movies before the youth, black youth, and they kind of influence some black youth to, get involved in this type of lifestyle.
Impressionable kids excited about picking up a side to rep. The Colors movie of 1988 also influenced people a lot, and so did the emergence of gangster rap. Funny enough though, almost all the local crews chose Blood. But Dorsey wanted ops, so he turned Crip. A new turf war began, and there were constant shootings over turf. BOD turned from a dancing crew to drug pushers full time.
Damn.
They recruited heavily in the rest of St. Louis. Dorsey and Hitman T were top drug dealers, and both became notorious shooters with multiple bodies. The drug lords became the gang bosses. They got everyone paid so everyone respected them. They used kids to do the shootings, take chances on doing prison time on behalf of the older members. They had a gang graffiti like LA to mark territory. St. Louis gang ink culture became a thing as well, and so did the gang signs. BOD wore St. Louis Blues hats.
565.
Wore Indianapolis Colts hats.
Thank you, D.
They tried to mimic LA gangs in every facet.
Be money, thank you.
They had drive-bys almost every night in St. Louis.
Thank you. Now we're getting somewhere. I had to pause this. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting Fist of Fury is hot. Into the Dragon, dope. 5 Fingers of Death, dope. 5 Deadly Venoms. Jackie Chan, Drunken Master. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those movies. Yeah, Scarface. Yeah, because Scarface impacted the damn whole entire country. Like everybody, Latinos, everybody thought it was fucking Scarface when it got into the drug game.
A very violent time for the city. At the peak of all the crack-fueled madness, Hitman T was shotgunned and off in '91. Hitman T was so well loved that his funeral almost turned into a riot, and the cops had to break it up. Word on the street is Dorsey had Hitman T's corpse dug up afterwards.
What?
This has never been confirmed. The hatred between crews runs so deep, and everyone assumed it was Dorsey that did the shooting. He became a major target in the city, and he had kept a low profile for some months. Retaliation killings were happening left and right. Many went unsolved. It was one of the bloodiest weekends in St. Louis history. St. Louis descended into war after that, with gang violence skyrocketing and hitting record numbers. The ops tried to burn Hitman T's mom's house to try and kill his family.
Dang.
Dorsey was supposed to lay low but couldn't resist the urge to get back on the street. In October '91, Dorsey was hit 7 times in the chest and somehow survived.
Wow.
Despite the second chance at life, Dorsey was shot twice during an altercation outside a club later that year, and it basically opened his wounds up, and he died.
Damn.
Boys of Destruction and Horseshoe Posse split into different sets, but the city would never be the same after that. The crack era started to die down in the '90s, mainly due to harsh drug
Venom. Yeah.
incarceration,
So, I remember them having like a snitch or like a traitor Yeah, yeah, because it was a pupil and it was the lizard that joined forces to beat up the snake, the centipede. Yeah, that shit was my God. Five Deadly Venoms. Oh my God, man. You can't go wrong with that. Or Enter the Dragon or Fist of Fear. You can't go wrong with that. Like those are definitely like the most well-known kung fu movies. If anybody's ever interested in that type of stuff, those are the movies you recommend. If you into this and you want to know what to watch, yeah. Five Deadly Venoms. I said the lizard. I meant the toad. What is it? The toad? Wait, the lizard was a good guy, right? Yeah, the lizard and Born Invincible was dope too, though. It'll take me years to watch a movie again. Them shit. I got if I look through my shit, I got almost all those DVDs still. Cause we got flea markets here up here. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but I know Jersey they love kung fu flicks. So our flea markets they sell like this little swords and everything, Chinese stars. So anybody who's like geeks, like my boy be buying like crazy shit. I just buy the movies. The more I realized they chewed packets of ketchup for fake blood and jumped down from high places, but rewind and slow. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. No secret about me. I really watch a movie more than once or read the same. Oh, no, ma'am, you are crazy. Miami Vice was dope. That shit was dope growing up. Rico. Them shit were more fake than watching John Wick take out. Nah, they definitely. The kung fu movie, niggas flying through the air and big. Nigga. Yeah. But nostalgia is for the age. I have no idea what that is. What the one with the prince who uncle fell off all the heirs who was trying to find him to be king. Okay, so the one with the prince who uncle had off all the heirs and was trying to find him. Hey, that sounds like most of the kung fu plots. No, ma'am. You dig? I don't know. Could that be the Cripple Avengers? If I just go off the top, because I'm kind of good with these movies. If it was like a low, but you had some corny ones that nobody know about. Like you got the you got the man. You got the oh my God, what's the one with the guy who they're not even guess? I forgot. How you like how I did find this fake shit fascinating? You like how did I find this fake shit fascinating? Yeah, that shit was dope. Yeah. The kung fu movies still look. The Shaw Brothers, like those, still look alright today. I still can watch them.
Yeah, I was talking about so it was like a gang of them. I want to say it was maybe like 13 boys, and like you don't see him kill all of them, but the uncle, I guess the daddy had died, and word had got back that the uncle was like on bullshit, and he was planning on killing them. But I want to say like it was the first two in line, so it was like one heir that was directly in line, and then another heir right behind them. And I want to say that they was away, like they wasn't at the castle or whatever when the shit was going down. But word had kind of got back to him like, hey, don't return. So one of them went and like was hiding out with a monk, and eventually studied and learned kung fu and all of that shit. And they linked up later on to defeat the uncle, but the whole time the uncle was looking for him, like trying to find him, because of course he could always come back and be challenged as long as they was alive.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember the name of
it. Wu-Tang shit. Is that called Wu-Tang?
It might be. But I don't think it was just like Wu-Tang. Like, a lot of they titles is similar. Like Wu-Tang is probably a million
It's a
fucking
chamber. Yeah, they definitely because Wu-Tang was a lot. That was a karate family, and like it was a lot of movies like that that had Wu-Tang versus Shaolin. Yeah,
it's a million of those, million Iron Fists and
Iron Fist. Born Invincible is kind of dope.
You said what?
Born Invincible.
Born Invincible. See, that name sounds too simple for me to ever have seen it. Like more, is that like a newer one?
Nah, it's Shaw Brothers. It's 80s. She said too simple.
Yeah, because like some of the ones, if it's too simple, like some of the ones I like, that simple names I remember, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Curse of the Golden Flower, even what's the name of it with Jet Li? Damn it. What's the name?
He said Shaolin Temple. I knew it was something. I knew it was something like close to Wu-Tang, some shit like that. Because when you see that many people involved, that's usually one of those flicks where.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a horrible budget. Like it was. I remember it being decent because some of them they damn near look like plays. Like some of them be real bad. But what's the one with
Yeah, man, I love Shaw Brothers production. That's my favorite production.
Yeah, I think that's a popular one.
Yeah, they had the best ones, and like they were dedicated to only a few actors. Like they're like 4 or 5 actors, and they was everybody. That shit was kind of funny. My favorite one of all time.
Yeah, don't they use Donnie Yen a lot?
Huh?
Do they use Donnie Yen a lot?
I don't know the names like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's the same people. Like the one cocky guy with the one cross eye. Yeah, like they got the same guys that play and that guy from Five Deadly Venoms, the little young guy who do all the snake who do all the flipping and shit. Those guys stay. Matter of fact, the strong guy in Five Deadly Venoms, he was the guy who played Born Invincible. So like they stay like always bad guys. Always bad.
Yeah.
But my favorite one of all, The Kiss of the Dragon, my favorite one of all time was it's not that popular unless you're a diehard, but it's called Fist of the White Lotus. All right.
And wait, hold on. I'm finna look at this picture because I think I might have seen that one.
Which one?
I'm not no goddamn diehard fan.
Yeah.
I just know diehard fans. Shit.
Yeah.
Fist of the Lotus?
Yeah, Fist of the White Lotus. Yo, that dude. Matter of fact, one of my YouTube channels I don't use too much is called The White Lotus. That's how much I love that. I mean, a current YouTube channel is called The White Lotus. That's how much I love that movie. That dude was. He couldn't be beat, man. He couldn't be beat. The guy, he was so good that the guy had to come back 3 times to beat him. His 3rd time, he finally beat him. He had to come back 3 times. You couldn't even hit him.
I kind of want to get back into watching them because, you kind of get tired of the same shit, and I can appreciate the time that they take to put in. Like, you could tell it take them at least time in like planning and choreography because they be having some pretty complex fight scenes.
Oh, hell yeah. That should be dope.
Yeah, like that shit take time. And
what about with the weapons? Yo, what is the one? I'm trying to think of. You got me with brain freeze now. There was one Shaw Brothers film. It was involving the 5 elements, and like we called it the 5 elements, but that was not the. It was called Super Ninjas. I think it's called Super Ninjas, or maybe not. But it had it had the water, the wood, the fire. We called it 5 elements, but that was not the correct name. Oh my God. That sword fight in the beginning was so dope. And yeah, do you know a lot of things are free on YouTube, by the way? No, man?
Well, a lot of the movies?
Yeah. All those kind of movies are free. Well, it used to be. Yeah, because
I was gonna say, no, I didn't know that. I know I didn't look up some on fucking Netflix and they be
I used to, I'm gonna say about 10 years ago, I used to watch every last Kung Fu movie that everybody named free on YouTube. They was all, and you know how they recommend other ones. I used to watch all of them free,
Yeah, I'm still trying to, and I always forget.
Let me see if it's still free. Because yeah, you don't gotta buy nothing if it's still there.
Oh, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna buy shit. Ask a motherfucker to burn me your catalog and send it to me. Shit, I'm not buying a goddamn thing. But it was, I meant to ask. It's one where when I say it was just the creativity of the fight scene, which they always have creative fight scenes, but you know they get into the little fighting, the little
Oh yeah, you gotta buy it now. Oh shit. Yeah, see? I'm telling you, chat, believe me, they were all free about 10, 12 years ago. Every last one of them.
Not 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, about 10, 12. I'm telling you how long it was.
Yeah, but you know that I don't think people was really fucking with YouTube like that back then. Like that was when they probably was still trying to draw.
Yeah, no, they weren't. Yeah, they weren't. But yeah, by 10, 12, they all was free.
Oh, that's the one you talking about? This like the second one is playing?
Yeah, look. Okay.
Oh, I'm positive I've seen that one before.
Look at this guy's unbeatable.
Positive I've seen that one before.
Look, man. You can't look. So this is this is his first attempt trying to beat him up. Right? Now mind you, he just came back from almost because the dude got the little 52-step death punch where he punch you and you walk 52 steps and you die, like your heart just give up. So he took like 51 steps, and the second one he just rolled down the steps and somebody came and saved him, so he didn't do the last step. So he just got his ass kicked. He almost died. He recovered. They nursed him back to health. He trained. Now he's coming. I think this is his first time that he could beat the master. Now look at this shit. Because by the way, the master killed his whole village. By the way,
they use him a lot in they films too.
Yeah, look, the master killed his whole village, right? I mean, he kicked everybody ass by himself. Now look, don't you ever fuck with a Chinese nigga like meditating?
The way they be entering the room be so dramatic.
I think he got swordsman. Like, he's pretty good, no man, because he could be two swordsmen. So that nigga light. Yeah, you get a sword. Yeah, that's so dope, man. There you go. With that practice, no man. Tired by now?
Hell no.
They be flipping it. I used to try this shit like hell back in the day. Why he's fighting the other guy just meditating, by the way. Look.
Don't give a damn.
My man is so concentrated. I got this one. But my man enough of this shit. Look.
He's like, I know the fuck you did.
But you can't even touch him.
You are most certainly improving. Even defeated my soul.
He looks like the guy from Kill Bill.
Oh, really? Now look.
Not that nigga say you most certainly are improving.
Yeah, I told you the second time. Yeah, the dude is official. It's my favorite one.
Quit playing with me. Shit.
You've been lucky.
Look. He actually touched him, the watcher. No, man. He got mad that he got touched. And that's why his shoe touched him. That's why he said, you got lucky. Yo, he's mad the dude laid a finger on him. Look at this shit.
You've been lucky.
There you go. Uh-huh.
Cheese.
Look, you can't touch him.
Now you know.
Look, you can't touch him.
Get your ass off me.
Look, you can't touch him. That nigga like winded. See? Can't touch him.
His little baby hand in the back blowing in the wind.
He touch him again. All right. So now a woman taught him how to fight. So she said to beat this guy, you got to take the woman style.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is why he was able to touch him more.
What's wrong with you? You're acting strangely.
But you can see all of his poses are feminine.
Oh, yeah,
huh?
I see you've come prepared to be my guest then. You'll soon see.
Look how he fighting.
The zesty style.
That's very interesting. You've done well. You've got the right technique. But unfortunately, my pulse is well hidden. Try and find it.
So normally they got like a secret.
Come and try again.
They got a secret weakness we're supposed to like touch and die. The same thing with Born Invincible.
I ain't gonna lie, that nigga look tired as hell though.
You'll have to try
He's
harder.
looking for his pulse. Pulse is ready. He's grabbing the nuts. He's trying to find a pulse.
That has no effect on me.
Yo.
Hey, you. Your technique is still not good enough for a master. What's wrong? Well, I guess I'd better show you. Watch me, then. I'll not show you again. You think you're good, but you're not, you know. You see, pulses are buried in your muscle.
Yeah, he gonna haul ass.
Your punch must be accurate, accompanied with force. Then that is called perfection. Got it? Don't worry. I've not hit your vital part. I don't want you to die in here, ruining my sacred chapel and my home. I'll make sure you die somewhere else. Die slowly after my 100-pace punch.
All right, so this one ain't gonna do it, no man. All right, so I said 51. It's 100 pace. This one he did it.
Woo.
Yo, my man said, I don't want you to die here, my sacred, whatever.
You're not finna ruin my fucking vibe. Shit.
I want you to die somewhere else. So
This
take
is my place of peace. Shit.
Now get out of here. Hurry along, sonny boy.
Let's catch up.
It's like they be talking shit and laughing for me.
So now, old boy can't do this 100 steps. He's gonna take 99 and then roll every fast forward. There you go. See? So he never took one more step. And that pump right there saved him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my tank.
All right, so that's the fish of the White Lotus.
Let me show you. You ain't finna die up in here. Shit. Your ass on somewhere.
Yeah, that was hard. The feminist style. Yeah, he was like, why acting funny?
It was lagging a little bit, but I know it's probably better if it, you know.
Oh. Okay. So all right.